Welcome back everybody to another rendition of Quincy Beoulve's Let's Play of Final Fantasy VI. So I went to the town and it wasn't really necessary to be there. I mean, I upgraded my equipment, I talked to Shadow, I forgot what I named him, but here I am going into the house to the north of the town. What's that smell? Most likely rotten eggs. His tea. It was his favorite. Yay, a potion! These dishes, they're just like the ones he always used. Not exactly sure who Edgar is talking about. Oh, and we're just sleeping in somebody's bed. That's always good news. Check out the house, what am I supposed to be doing here? These flowers, he always liked these. In the crates, nothing in the crates. And we're just sleep in all the beds. Edgar tried every bed. He went in the first bed and said, "This one's too hard." He went in the second one and said, "This one's too soft." Could Randy be living here? Oh! That might be who he's talking about. Hey! Do you happen to know where I can find the man who lives here? Sure do! Left a couple of days ago. Soon as he heard Master Duncan had been killed, headed up into the mountains. They say Duncan's son Vargas is missing too. I don't like it one bit. Well, thank you, old man. Now time to find the mountains. Is that little crack right there the mountains? I mean, those are indeed mountains, but the crack that's right there. Yeah. Okay, so right now, I want to talk about the interesting thing about the celebrity status of Let's Players, except not just the celebrity status, but the connection that Let's Players, like stars on YouTube, can have with other people, the audience. No, that crack's not. I don't think that's a crack. Anyways, so the audience and the Let's Play YouTubers. So I watch a good number of Let's Players, from the Mind Crack to Best Friends Play to Solon, Parlock, everyone that was in that stream actually that actually got me inspired to do this Let's Play. Game Grumps and Steam Train. I watch all of those people. And a good number of them, or the majority of them, are practically inviting the audience, us, into their house and saying, "Hey, sit down on my couch, chill out for a bit, we're gonna play some video games." And so you can get really connected to other Let's Players this way. You can get connected to the people that you're watching because it's just, hey, I'm going to talk to you as if we're friends. And so it's a really interesting thing because you usually don't get to see that in any form of medium. It's usually like if you have movies or shows, it's these big celebrities offering their thing and it's all staged and everything. But Let's Players, they talk about stuff, usually stuff that they've done, and they don't censor themselves. Well, some of them censor themselves to make it family friendly, but that's all their choice. They don't have to. They choose to, but yeah, they don't. You're like talking to someone right there. It's very interesting because You're talking to this person and you're like, hey, I kinda know you. I know all of these stories about you because you've told me all of these stories. And I feel like it'd be really awkward to meet another Let's Player because I would feel like I know that person very well, even though we've never met, and they have no idea who I am. But I don't... As mine stands right now, my audience is a bunch of people that I do know, so I don't think I'm going to have that problem with you guys if you were to ever meet me or anything like that. Maybe in the future I could be big. But no, it's a really interesting relationship between Let's Players and their audience. It's a shadowy figure going across the mountain, which means that is where plot goes, and I saw a treasure chest over this way, and so I'm gonna get it before I continue with the plot. Those birds kind of look like the quintessential mountain birds that love to turn their characters into stone. I don't know if I want to fight them, but I think I'm going to just because I'm gonna have to put them in my bestiary. But so far it doesn't look like they really turn me into stone, which I am bad about. They're doing a good number of damage on me though, which I'm not really a fan of. So I'll just get rid of these. Oh. Oh. Well. Good. I don't have... Well, I don't have any gold needles. Or whatever those socks. Or whatever this game uses for its pure stone. No, I am not gonna fight these guys again. Ever again. As we saw in the banter in the middle of the last fight, or the last story fight, there was a good number of jovial interaction between the characters and the audience. Final Fantasy evolved to have this interaction over the past couple games, and it's really interesting to watch the clash between light humor and the serious story. I guess in a way, the Final Fantasy series can be saying that despite how horrible things are in life, how awful they can get, you need to find something to smile about, even if it's a fake smile, and you have to laugh and move forward on your journey. Ah ha 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 ha! Sorry, I couldn't really help myself. Because the phrasing that I used, I was writing it out, and now I'm looking back and it's a lot like the message in Final Fantasy X. Especially during the infamous bad voice acting scene when everyone's leaving Luca. And to be completely honest, Titus and Yuna sounded bad because it was in the script to sound bad. To all of the reviewers that took that scene and said, wow, this game has horrible voice acting, I honestly have to wonder if they have ever been in a platonic relationship before. I mean, I will admit that there were several times during the game where I was not fond of the voice acting, but Titus and Yuna during that part did an amazing job at acting like complete goofballs, because that's what they were trying to do. at least when I'm around couples, they tend to do some weird things. And usually they A, don't care who sees, and B, everyone that does see is really confused by how weird they are acting. Which is exactly how the scene goes if you wait 10 seconds to see the entire party like, they okay? That scene right there is actually a great instance of the clash between seriousness and comedy. Speaking of games, speaking of comedy and reviews, a lot of people that are not fans of the newer games look at the comedy aspects, which heavily resembles this genre of games, the genre Final Fantasy VI is in, and says that bad voice acting, bad scene, bad characters, when in all reality, if the 2D games were converted to 3D, many of our loved characters would be a lot like Steiner from Final Fantasy IX. A lot of the scenes that are funny now, you will find them again in later games, as the parts that you're saying is just bad. Well, speaking of Steiner and Final Fantasy IX, now that I think of it, I start giving Edgar the same voice I give Steiner when I play 9. It's just kind of funny. They have the same voice, you know. And they're both kind of entertaining characters because they have a lot more of that comedy aspect than a lot of the other characters. But yeah, an amazing example is our friend Gilgamesh. He's a fun rival of Final Fantasy V that is the right-hand man to Exdeath, who's the main character, the main villain, who gets sent into the void and then comes out of the void to appear in other Final Fantasy games. He is as comical in 12 and 13 too as optional bosses as he is in the original game. Nobuo Uematsu, the main composer for the series, went out to say that 9 was his favorite to write music for because it was different from 7 and 8, which were pretty serious and dark compared to some of the earlier games. And 9 was a little bit more lighthearted. But to be completely honest, there was a good number of comical scenes in those games as well. But I don't think the technology was up to the task when it comes to adding the comical facial expressions that were appropriate that you could see in the other games. And so because of that, the Bash of Comedy was not prominent in those two games because you mostly saw the darker side to it. I think the break that those games had from the prominence of this bash might have helped in deterring some of the people that say that 6 was the last good game ever from the series. And speaking of being deterred from games, I have heard many reasons and accounts as to why not to play certain games. And I will be completely honest with you. I avoided those games. Like, wholeheartedly avoided, not gonna touch them. But for most of them, I said, you know, lately, for most of them, I said, I will give them a try. I'll give them a good go. And honestly, I found something with the game that I was told not to play enjoyable. One of the ones of that example that I was talking about that shocked me the most was Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. The original Tactics is and will always be my favorite game of all time. I mean, my pen name, Beoulve, comes from that game. The original is a very beautiful and serious game. I am honestly having a hard time trying to come up with any of this comical flash I have been discussing when thinking about tactics. I mean, that doesn't make it bad, it just makes it a little bit different. A good way to describe it is think of King of Thrones, Game of Thrones, and Final Fantasy. So, Tactics Advanced, on the other hand, is practically the complete opposite side of the comedy serious spectrum, where Final Fantasy Tactics talks about serious stuff, wars. The premise for Advanced is a kid finding a spell book and saying, "Man, I wish I lived in Final Fantasy." So that's a little bit goofy, but because of that, I and everyone else was because of the original, I and everyone else was expecting it to be just like the original. So for years, I thought that because it was a lot more campy, it was an awful game. Recently, I sat down and said, I will give this a good go. I'll get so far into the game. And to be honest, I found a lot of entertainment in the light-hearted Final Fantasy game. There is a lot in there that you can just sit down and say, okay, this is pretty entertaining to play. Now, I like the mechanics of Final Fantasy Tactics, but I mean, like, the story is just, it's campy, it's something different from serious. Just puts a little smile on you, smile on your face. Like, man, if all you have to do to live in a Final Fantasy is to chat, I want to live in Final Fantasy, I want that stuff. And so, you just have a fun time playing. And I honestly liked it. It was a bit different, and I might play it sometime on here after playing the original. But I don't know what my next game will be. Any suggestions? I am open to them. But I guess at the end of this whole point right here, there are two very important lessons that Final Fantasy has taught me. A, smile through the pain. It will hurt, but do your best to give something. But do your best because you need to move on. You need to keep moving. Even when it's really painful, you can't just stop. I mean, you can take a short break, but you can't just stop and not go any further. The other thing is to give something a good try. Even if you've heard nothing but bad things about it. Like this, and those things can be related into the real world, such as, oh, something horrible happened in life. Like, somebody died. You just gotta keep moving. I mean, you can try while you're moving, but it'd be preferable if you found something not to cry about. But yeah, and the other thing, like, let's say someone at school. You see someone at school, you hear that they're not really the best person, but you know what? Be friends with them anyways. Because they might be the coolest person you ever have known. You don't know that unless you try. So yeah.
Randy sent you, didn't he?
Who are you? Randy. Is he here? You were the one sneaking around us the whole way up here, weren't you?
And if I was? Huh. Well, it doesn't really matter who you are. I've got no plans to surrender. Woe is the day you met me. It'll be the last day of your lives.
So, I do have to apologize. I'm not exactly sure why, but when I was recording this, the quality of everything, the quality just gradually got worse, and I'm honestly not exactly sure why. So, yeah. That's what was going on whenever you saw those little skips between animations of battle or talking. So here we go with this fight, and that goes dead. Dandy. I've been wondering for a while, like, what voice should I give Vargas? And so, yeah, that's what I came up with, or what was suggested to me. I was not expecting that to be the actual voice. But yeah, I've also heard quite a bit about Vargas. I think he might be a recurring villain. Or just bad guy. But yeah. And the quality's going bad again. Great. Well, hopefully I figure out how to do better quality and stuff for the next video and onward. That's enough, Vargas.
Ah, if it isn't Randy.
Why, Vargas? Why did you kill Master Duncan? How could you kill your own father?
The fool snubbed me, his only son. He chose you as his successor.
That's not true. Now, Master...
It's true and you know it. It's written in that ugly sneer across your face.
He wanted you to be his successor. Not me. He knew you had the most potential.
Sick of listening to your lies. We've got far more than just potential. Why don't you see for yourself? Ah, Randy. My father was right to see so much in you.
I guess there's no avoiding this.
Fate made us train together. Now fate will send you to your doom. Now, get ready to join your beloved master. Why hold back, Randy? Your time's almost up. Come on! What's the matter? Time to put an end to this.
I need to use a blitz technique, like the master has taught me. Alright, I can do this. So it's just A and that? Oh. Well. Oh. I was not expecting that. Does it leave me off at the last save point, or in front of the guy? Because I really hope it's in front of the guy so I don't have to go all the way down that spiral thing. Great. Hey everybody, I'm back.
Ah! Ah! Oh! You already learned that technique?
Vargas! If only you hadn't been so consumed by pride! Even you would have learned this technique! Randy! Brother! Brother? You're his twin brother? His brother? At first, I thought you were another one of Vargas's bears. You thought I was a bear? I guess I'll take that as a compliment. Anyway, Edgar, what are you doing here? We're on our way to the Saber Mountains. To the eternal hideout, no doubt. So the wheels are finally turning. I've been watching from a distance, hoping the world would come to its senses. The way things were going, I was afraid Figaro would end up as a puppet state. A means of striking back has presented itself. There will be no more playing lapdog to the Empire. I'm through with that act. Cool! Think a bear like me could be of any help? You join us? Randy. Whoa! Huh. I think Duncan would rest easier knowing his training went help bring peace to the world. Well then, let's get going. Alright. So now we have Sabin in our party. Or Randy. Randy Savage. Savage? Sabin? Sabin? Savage? Randy Savage. I mean, we're already calling Locke John Locke, so might as well. So, yeah, so now we have Randy on a team, and he is a monk. Well, Locke is a thief, but I'm not exactly sure what Edgar and Tara are. Edgar can use tools, so maybe an engineer? But anyway, so that battle, I did not really understood what it was telling me to do. I mean, I would do it, and then it wouldn't work, and I was like, what? So I asked someone, I went on Game FAQs, and they both said the same thing, and I was like, fine, I'll just try it again, and it worked. I have no idea what I was doing wrong the first time. The first, like, 3 times, that is. So, it looks like you need a buckle. Are you allowed? Yes, you are allowed. Haha. So, yeah. There's a mountain pass, but I'm just double checking to see what's all the way up here. Monsters are all the way up here. And the video quality is back to not being so good. Anyway. I mean, what? So nothing is up here. That's another fake crack in the mountains. So, this was a fun day, and I will see you guys next time!